and welcome to Meet the Author, a show where we explore the world through the imagination of talented writers. On this show, we will talk with authors from Laurel, Prince George's County, the DMV, and beyond. Today, our guest author is Mrs. Carol Nash. Mrs. Nash is a native New Yorker with an extensive professional background in nursing and healthcare. She also founded Bernadettes House, a nonprofit organization which provides after-school mentoring for girls here in Laurel. Ms. Nash is very active in the community, and she is dedicated to making a difference in the world of children. Hi, Ms. Nash. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you? And thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. So we're not strangers. We know each other a little bit.
We do a
little
whole
bit
lot.
of history.
Yeah.
So we just want to tell the viewers a little bit about you, okay?
Okay.
All right. So like I mentioned, you're a native New Yorker. You have a degree in nursing and healthcare administration and a Master of Art in Religion.
Yes.
So with that extensive background, how do you think that has prepared you for what you do right now?
Well, I think step by step, the Lord just prepared me. I started out in nursing, and somewhere in my late 40s, my husband said to me one day, "So what are you going to do when you're not able to lift patients and pull and turn? What are you going to do then?" And after thinking about it, I went back to school and got another degree in healthcare administration. So that degree actually helped prepare me for what I do today.
Okay.
Because running a nonprofit, I have that experience in administrating programs through my healthcare experience.
Okay.
And then some years later, I began to seek the Lord and seek my spiritual self and test my beliefs. And just wanted to know more so that I could draw nearer to God.
Okay.
And so I went back to school again. I tend to educate myself in the things that I'm not sure about.
That's a good thing.
And so I went back to school and prepared myself to understand more about religion and spiritual practices. And I think in doing that, it actually helped me find my spiritual self so that I could apply it to what it is that I do at Bernadettes House. You know, I tell people that we need to be kind, we need to love one another more, and just in studying the various religions around the world, I saw that there was that one thread, that one thing that threaded itself throughout almost every religion, that we're challenged to love one another, to be kind to one another. And so that really did help me understand better what that love should look like as I minister to children.
Right, and that's good. It's something that we all could use, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's just step back a little bit. You talked about nursing. So how long were you a registered nurse?
I think by the time I ended my career, I had been practicing nursing for maybe 35 years, somewhere around in there. Long time.
Tenured,
Yeah, long time.
And so within that time, you mentioned some things in your bio. So can you share with us some things you've learned or noticed about people while you were in nursing?
Yeah, you know, I started out as a young nurse wanting to heal and save everybody, or at least help.
Right.
And what I learned as my career went on was that it's not always the physical self that needs healing.
Right.
Many times holding a hand at a bedside, talking to families, talking to staff. I learned that a lot of our pain is emotional pain. Pain developed through just walking through life's journey and not having the sense of self-esteem and confidence that we need to know that we're okay. We're okay, and we're going to make it, and we're good, you know. And so I realized through my nursing experience that it's not just putting a Band-Aid on a patient or giving them a pill, or that it was the touch, the listening to. It was just being there for someone. I remember a patient, there was really nothing to say to this patient. This patient had lost a baby, pretty traumatic stuff, and there was really nothing to say. I hadn't gone through that experience. I didn't know what it felt like, so I couldn't say, I know what you're feeling.
Exactly.
So I just sat there. I just stayed with her. I just held her hand. And later on found out that that was the thing that helped her most, was just being there.
Right.
So, you know, sometimes it's not the physical pain that heals us, or the physical pain that makes us anxious about life. It's the emotional stuff going on.
Something a little bit deeper. And
Yeah.
so I can imagine that has been very helpful, you know, in your nonprofit, dealing with girls of different ages and different backgrounds. So I guess that helped you prepare for that too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so speaking about your nonprofit and coming here to good old Laurel, Maryland, when did you move to Maryland? What made you decide to call Laurel your home?
Well, I actually moved to Maryland way back, I think it was 1980, somewhere along there. I opened a nursing journal one day and saw that there was a program for nurses called the Weekend Option for Nurses. So you could work 24 hours, get paid for 40, and get all your benefits.
Okay.
So I was willing to go anywhere in the world that I could do that and be home with the kids for 5 days. And so Prince George's County was one of the first counties, or Prince George's Hospital was one of the first hospitals that actually opened that up for nurses. And so that's why I came.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so we talked about you coming to Laurel. So you eventually founded and currently run Bernadettes House.
Yes.
So what made you decide to start that organization?
Well, I think my entire life I pretty much prepared for Bernadettes House, although I didn't know at the time. Toward the end of my career, I really wanted to do something to help young people in the corporate world, because that's where I worked.
Right.
And in healthcare. Young people were suffering, making choices that were not always good choices, struggling with life, with children, with, and it affected them on their jobs where they were. Some of them, although I've met some wonderful people, you know, struggled with self-confidence and self-esteem. And so I knew I wanted to do something to help, but I didn't know what.
Okay.
And then one day, I spoke to a person who really wanted to make some changes in her life and didn't know how. And in talking to her, I kind of figured out, you know what? This should have started when she was young.
Right.
This journey to self-confidence, this journey to great self-esteem, and it should have started younger, when she was young. And so through that experience and the experience of nursing and knowing that a lot of what we go through in life is emotional pain, and because I had this this thing for etiquette and manners and children growing up with, you know, with some manners.
Right.
So put it all together, looking at my background, my upbringing, my education, suddenly Bernadettes House popped into my head.
It's kind of meant to be, huh?
Meant to be, helping children
Right.
gain confidence and self-esteem, loving them, nurturing them, the whole piece.
Okay.
But I didn't want to take it into the school system because kids spend enough
Right.
time in school.
You're right.
I wanted them to have a place that they could come to and feel like they were home after school.
Okay.
And so that's what we
That's where
did.
it all began, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So with us knowing why you started it, tell us, about the program. What's your mission? The different programs that you offer, just where you meet. You can take time to tell us about your organization.
Okay, so we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We started in October of 2012, and our mission is very simple. It's just to provide an environment where girls can come to pursue their dream.
Okay.
And so our vision is really to help girls believe in themselves, open up and blossom into the flowers that we all know they are, and then soar into the world.
I love it. Beautiful. Now, I mentioned some of the programs because we talked before, and there's a financial program, different things that you teach the girls. What about those programs?
Okay, so our signature program we have is our home after school program. And in that home after school program, the girls come to the facility and they're greeted every day with a hello beautiful, because we want them to know that beauty is not just on the outside, it's on the inside too. And so in that program, they have arts and crafts, they have Bible study every Wednesday, they learn to cook, so we feed body, mind, and spirit. They have something called Girl Talk, where they're actually able to come to the table and talk about any topic that they want to discuss. We talk a lot about feelings, things that happen to them in the course of the day in school. We have physical involvement. They jump rope, play ball, play jacks, all those things that kids don't do today. They're required to put their cell phones away when they come in the door.
Good.
So no cell phones, which allows them to focus on each other.
Right.
We also have a community debutante program where we teach for about 5 to 6 months. Girls go through a vigorous program where they learn etiquette, they learn to set a table, they learn the art of tea manners, they visit embassies, and we just expose them before they get to the point where they actually cross over as a debutante. So we have that debutante program. We have a few community programs, one called Dancing Life, that we open up to the community, where we teach conflict resolution to girls. We have another program, we teach financial literacy. And I don't teach all of that. I actually bring in people that have that expertise that teach the girls. We have formal teas at the house, and that's very exciting. I love doing that. I'm trying to think. Well, many programs.
Right, that's very good.
Yeah.
It keeps them busy. Like
Yeah,
they
it keeps
learn
them
many
busy.
different things, different aspects of life. So that's wonderful.
Absolutely. We also have something called Parent Talk, because without the parent, there is no child with self-confidence and self-esteem. So we bring the parents in once a month, and we sit around and talk about things that affect the children and their ability to feel that self-esteem and confidence.
So that's good. You do the parent part and the at-school part. You bring it all together.
Yeah.
That's very good, because we all are a village, and it takes us all to help the children to get to where they need to be.
Yeah, we love to say it takes a village to raise a child.
It does. So that's very promising. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I mentioned, we have met before on a previous show. I used to host Service in Action, where we talked about
Yeah.
nonprofit organizations. You were recently featured in the Laurel Leader.
Yeah, that was so cool.
And then you showcased the program. You had a recent conference called Keeping Our Youth Safe.
Yes.
So what has it been like, I guess, kind of being in the local spotlight here in Laurel? Do you feel like a sense of accomplishment, or how does that make you feel?
Very humble.
Okay.
Makes
I would
me
expect
feel
that.
very humble. It's so humbling to feel the community support the things that you dream about.
Right.
And it gives me hope that there is a future for our children because of this community. Many of us want to go out and help the world, but I'm not called to help the world. I'm called to help exactly where I am, which
Starts
is in
at
Laurel.
home. And we
So
appreciate
it's
it.
very humbling. It feels wonderful to know that there are people who recognize not me so much, but the work that we do
Right.
as an organization. We have about 30, 35 volunteers that work, some in front and some behind the scenes,
Right.
but all for one purpose, and that is to meet the mission and the vision of the organization. So I'm very humbled to know that the city of Laurel recognizes Bernadettes House and the people that actually contribute to the girls' growth and development.
Right. I guess it makes a difference. to
Makes a
have
big
that
difference.
Community involvement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm happy to have that. So now that sounds like enough in and of itself, the program and your background. But while we're here, you decided to write a book in spite of all of that.
One other thing to do, right?
Right. So what made you decide to write a book?
Well, I think everybody's got a book in them.
Okay.
And God didn't tell me to do other things. He told me to do manners
Okay.
and etiquette and children. And so I believe that early intervention really helps. I mean, there's no point in waiting until we get to be 20 and 30
Right.
years old to know all of this stuff.
And it's harder to
so-
change then too.
Yeah, yeah. And so I used to teach. I had a company called Just Plain Manners where I taught children manners, and many of the parents used to sit in the class and say, "I didn't know that." And so I said, "You know what? Let me just put some of this stuff in writing." And so one day, I just started writing something based on something that had happened in my home
Okay.
at Christmas time. And I wrote it down, and I just tucked the piece of paper somewhere. And one day I found that piece of paper, and I said, "Boy, this reads like a story." And so I guess something said, "Just write the book."
Right.
Just write the book. And I said, "I'm not a writer. I don't write." But it was already there. It was already there. It was already written. And so I said, wonder if I could really publish this thing. And I actually found an illustrator. I found a publisher, and
It all
the
worked
rest
out.
is history. Yeah.
Okay, so that was one of the questions I wanted to know too about the storyline. So you said you wrote it based on something that happened. So
Yeah.
you had the storyline first, and then did you add the topics in there to make the point that you were trying to make?
Yeah, after I found that piece of paper and looked at it, I said, "So, yeah, this really is the beginning of something." And so I expanded the story a little bit, and because of my faith, I wanted people to know that God is in everything.
Okay.
And so as I began to really tweeze things apart, I looked at scripture that would fit the story, that I would want children to know about. And so it was a true story. Most of it is a true story. And I just began to put it all together. And one of the first things that we teach our children when they're little tiny tots is how to say please and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it all starts, right? And so I thought, gee, you know, really the first book that I do on for children's etiquette should just be about please and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we can teach that, we've come a mighty long way.
Basic building blocks.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so you remember growing up,
Right.
somebody would say please, say
please.
thank you.
You wouldn't get it until you said please.
You didn't get it until then.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to start with the basics.
Okay. And that works. Now, something else that stood out to me is the title. So, where did that come from?
Oh my
with
goodness.
Mama, Papa, and Momuski.
Momuski. I didn't know. So I have out of the 5 children that we have together, there was one who just refused to call me mom or mommy, so he started calling me Momuski, and I don't even remember when it started, but I would answer to this Momuski, and then other people would say, "What does that mean?" And I said, "I don't know." He just started calling me Momuski, and so then when he had a son. And his son started calling me Grandma Momuski.
Oh, wow.
So I wanted a
mouthful.
title that would just pop, you know. And so I didn't want to say with Papa and Grandma,
Right.
or I wanted something that would get somebody's attention. And so I thought, why not Momuski?
Right.
So I wasn't sure how to spell it.
So it's your word. You spell it the way you want to.
It's how it's whatever it is. It's spelled the same way it's pronounced. Momuski.
That works.
So that's where the title came from.
Okay. And like you said, it draws attention because that's the first thing I wanted. What does that mean?
What
So
is
you wanted-
Momuski? Yeah.
Okay. So this book is the first in the Train Up a Child series.
Yes.
So what would you like to accomplish with that series?
So the Bible tells us in Proverbs 22:6, I believe. My memory is not what it used to be, but I believe this is Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way they should go, and they will not turn away from it. And so, you know, in doing the research for the book, because believe it or not, you know, it took some research to make sure that I was telling or given information that was accurate.
Right.
And so training, you know, the Bible challenges a parent to talk to their children, to teach them, to train them. And I thought to myself, this is something that we have to do on purpose. Even though growing up, you know, I gained all these skills, I gained the knowledge, but somebody did it on purpose. Somebody took the time to talk to me and to teach me, to train me, to tell me how to set a table properly, to teach me how to sit as a young lady, to teach me the things that I should and should not be doing and saying and talking about, the kinds of friends that I need to have. I remember someone saying to me, your friends are like mirrors, they reflect who you are. And so all of that was done on purpose. I remember asking my mom, how did you manage to raise us? And we didn't get into trouble, we didn't get into mischief. And she said, I always knew where you were and I always knew who your friends were. And you didn't know that I knew. So that was the key.
Made a difference.
Just training on purpose, giving the child the information that they need to be successful in life. They're just little skills. They're not big skills, but many of us miss it because we're not being trained on purpose. And so that's what I wanted to accomplish.
So do you have any other topics planned in your upcoming books?
There's a few topics. There are 2 of them sitting on my desk at home right now if I can ever get to finish them. But yeah, I want to talk to children about what their behavior looks like in public.
Okay.
Using public transportation. I want to talk to them about what it looks like when you go in to visit your friends in their home.
Okay.
I want to talk to them about their church manners and talk to other people about their church manners and manners in school, what that looks like. I want to talk to them about the proper way to carry themselves in public and how they dress and what that all looks like. And
So I look forward to those.
yeah, so I don't have a lot of time to write these days. A lot of it is in my head, but I guess when I really retire for the second or third time, I'll get to finish this series.
Okay. Yeah, definitely look forward to those, because it's, like you said, needed information, basic building blocks for how we need to conduct ourselves and carry on in life. Now, is there a set number of books for your series, or you kind of trying to play it by ear?
No, I just, whatever time the Lord gives me, I'll just keep writing.
I love it. I love it. No set standard.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in the book. There's a Let's Talk section that has a scripture reference. It reviews the book and has questions to discuss with the child. So what made you decide to write it that way? I mean, I like it and I think it, helps with discussion, but what made you do it that way?
Well, a couple of things. One, I realized that even as a parent myself, I give the child the book to read. I don't know if they read it or not. I just said, here, read this book. And I think my one daughter, by the time she was 8 or 9 years old, she'd read the entire series of the Babysitter's Club. Okay. And I couldn't even tell you what was in those books. Not good for a parent.
Right.
Because, I was young. I wasn't really paying attention like that.
Right.
But I should have had that conversation with her about what was in the book, what did she read, what did she learn, what was her takeaway. There's a way that you can talk to a child about engage in their reading. Right. And so I thought back on my parenting skills and experience, and I said, gee, you know what? I want parents to really know whether or not this child understood what I just wrote, and did the parent does the parent engage in the learning, in the skills, in building those skills, and so I wanted to do something that would pull the parent in to the story, and so that's where that last section came from.
I think that's important too. Like I said, the engage and the having the discussion with the kids. Yeah, that's important. Reading comprehension to make sure they understand what they read. That's
and then important. What do they do with the? This is a what do I do with this information kind of book, So am I supposed to say please and thank you all the time? Right. When am I supposed to say it? So
it definitely generates conversation. So that's great.
Yeah.
Another thing that stood out to me, of course, are the illustrations. So the illustrations are very bright, colorful, and detailed. So talk to us a little bit about the illustrator. How did you find your illustrator to make your book come alive?
Well, first I prayed and said, Lord, if you want me to do this, find me somebody to do the pictures. But I went to Artscape in Baltimore. Okay. There's a young artist there who was displaying her work. And I actually was looking, I love art, and I was actually looking at her work. And I bought a few pieces, and as I turned around to leave, something said, you need to get her to do your illustrations. And I was like, well, she's not interested. There's nothing there that looks like children's work, But I said, okay, well, let me just ask. Nothing. So I asked her, I said, do you do children's illustrations for books, or would you be interested? Right. And she smiled and said, sure.
See?
See? And so her name is LaTanya Peoples, and she took on the assignment, and this is just a beautiful illustration. Although I didn't think that was me in the beginning. I was like, who is that old lady?
So they based on you.
Yeah, my husband and I had actually given her some pictures of the family. Okay. And so I guess that's really what I look like, even though I don't want to admit
It's
it.
like a caricature, cartoon.
Yeah. So,
Very nice, though.
so she's got some art exhibited in Baltimore, beautiful work, murals that she's done, and she's got a website.
Okay.
And as I said, I bought a couple of her pieces, and one of my sons said to me, "I don't mean any harm, but if anything happens to you, can I have that? Can I have those 2 pieces?" She's incredible. She really is.
And is she going to do the other series? Have you gone that far yet?
I'm
or?
hoping.
Okay.
I'm hoping that I can get her to continue. I did ask her, and she did say yes.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Good. Very nice. It really makes the book come alive.
Yeah.
So I know we mentioned how it's a children's book, but you allow the parents to be engaged. But who would you say your target audience for your book is?
I would say children probably from grades 3 to probably 7 or 8.
Okay.
Grade 7 or 8.
Okay.
I think they would gain something from, the stories.
I think so too. And like I said, then with families, so the parents can be engaged with maybe different age kids if they have multiple age kids in their homes. So. Okay. So I think we mentioned this, but your publishing options. Now we talked about you praying about writing the book and praying about your illustrator. How did you go about publishing the book? Was it self-published or did you use a company? How did that work out?
I actually used a publisher that was out of state. A publisher called Kingdom Builders. So I was looking for a Christian publisher. And a friend of mine had just published a book of poetry. So I called her and asked her about the publisher. Turns out that the publisher was in South Carolina, Christian publisher. And I got good reviews for this particular publisher. And so I gave her a call and said, "Would you be interested?" I didn't have any idea of how to go about any of this. I was just like, okay, let me just try this.
Right.
But, through my own personal confidence in who God is, I knew it could get done. And so they agreed to do it and told me what I needed to do and how I needed to do it. And so I did it.
And it worked out, huh?
It worked out.
It worked out very well. Hey, if you'd like to share with us how we can get your book.
I believe, and I haven't looked lately, but of course, Amazon.com. Amazon is everywhere.
Everything is
Amazon.com, Books A Million, and of course, KingdomBuilders.com. The publisher carries the book. And there's one other, if I can, I think those are pretty much,
And can they see you? Do you have copies of your book?
I do.
Okay.
I actually do. And they can actually call me. Can I give information?
Yes.
Okay. At 410-707-2420. They can visit our website, bernadetteshouse.org. And the book will be, it's Christmas time now, so it is a seasonal book, and so it'll be up on the website for Christmas.
Okay.
Or just give me a call, and I'd be happy to help them find out how to purchase the book.
Sounds good. Well, Ms. Nash, thank you so much for coming in today. Good seeing you again. Love the projects that you're working on, and definitely look forward to seeing you more in the community.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
All right.
All right.
We'll be right back. Christmas with Papa and Momuski is the first in the Train Up a Child series of children's books on social and life skills. It shows the different traditions and customs a family getting together for the holidays may share. It is a cute, heartwarming book to enjoy with your family during the holidays. I would like to thank Ms. Carol Nash for joining me today. She has spent many years in the healthcare field, in service to the community, and now in writing books to assist with teaching children social and life skills. We appreciate all Ms. Nash has done and is continuing to do in the community and look forward to hearing more from her. If you're an author and would like to be featured on our program, you can send an email to cmjohnson@laurel.md.us or call 301-725-5300, extension 2110. We would love to have you on the show. I'm Christine Johnson, reminding you to open a book and let it take you on your next adventure.